Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that was dealing with the aftermath of a short but intense relationship with someone that met all of the characteristics of someone with a narcissistic personality disorder. Most people would agree that the term narcissist is overused and quite often inappropriately used. However, speaking with a particular client, it did seem to tick all of the more abusive sides of narcissistic abuse, which, impossible for me to diagnose without actually knowing the person, but highly probable that they were in a relationship with a narcissist. And that comes with a lot of consequences. Quite often, there is this kind of hot and cold feeling of intense affection and connection and, real positive emotions followed by stonewalling or harsh criticism or feelings of doubt and rejection, questioning your own reality, and a lot of criticism of how other people make them feel. And it ticked a lot of those boxes. And what was evident is that this was adding more stress and more pressure to an already busy life, already, extreme weather conditions. And it led to a couple of events that made them question their own ability to cope. Rather than looking at this kind of extreme reaction as kind of a national or a natural proportionate reaction to extreme circumstances, they were starting to create the belief that there was something wrong with them. And again, a narcissist will typically play on that, because if there's something wrong with you, then it gives them power to manipulate or control. So this hypnosis session uses the metaphor of a storybook, a picture book, but also the overall narrative of this is that because this was a short relationship and an intense relationship, it's almost like a boot camp or a vaccine for future narcissistic relationships. And the caveat is, so long as lessons are learned. If lessons aren't learned, then history tends to repeat itself. If they are learned, then that wisdom actually becomes very protective in nature. So if you're listening to this, it may be that you think you may have been in a narcissistic relationship, or perhaps you feel that you're in a relationship that just didn't end well and you feel was unfair. You might get value from this session. There's always the ability, as this client did, to reach out to me, to work with me one-on-one directly, in which case, obviously, the entire session is completely customized and bespoke to you and your needs, and you can find that link in the show notes. For now, though, you might find that this session is quite helpful. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of stress, anxiety, any worries to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. With your eyes closed, you can focus more on the sound of my words, turning words into meanings, perhaps meanings into insights, and maybe insights into change. And deep down, you already know the changes that need to be made. So as you breathe in and breathe out, just allow your body to become deeper and deeper relaxed. So relaxed that you can reduce the tension in your neck and your shoulders. You can release the tension in your jaw and around your eyes. And as you breathe in, you can slowly and deeply breathe in. And as you exhale, give permission to yourself to let go of that tension and stress and perhaps even guilt that you've been holding on to, enabling you breath by breath to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine your life in a picture book. Maybe there's a front cover that has an illustration, maybe of you as a child. And maybe you can see hand-drawn pictures of what represents your early childhood. Maybe a chapter that represents your younger years. What childhood was for you, what adolescence was for you. Where your drive and motivation and inspirations came from. And I want you to get a sense that each and every chapter in your life gave you lessons that you needed to learn. The difficulty in life is that whenever you learn a lesson, life elevates to a new level where there's new lessons to learn. But if a lesson isn't truly learned, the time may be different, the location may be different, even the faces and the people might be slightly different. But occasionally you get these stories that just repeat again and again until the lesson is finally learned. And I want you to flick through this book to what you would consider the most recent chapter. Maybe imagine seeing yourself at a yoga retreat, in a posture. And I want you to imagine yourself almost glowing with an energy. And I want you to imagine that that energy is appealing, much like a moth to a flame. There are certain types of people that would find that energy alluring, perhaps because they lack that same energy within themselves. And as you turn the pages, I want you to see how that story within that chapter develops. What started off being so promising, perhaps led to control, criticism, the extremities of affection and intensity, and then withholding that. And as you flick through the pages, you get a sense that there is something powerful to learn from this chapter in your life. And maybe one of the things to learn from this chapter in your life is that there is only so much that your body and mind and emotions can deal with at any one point in time. And that sometimes when that pressure cooker gets just too intense, something has to give. And maybe your unconscious mind will warn you with a shake or a twitch, maybe a thought or a feeling. But if it doesn't get listened to, then sometimes it can result in something more intense. This isn't a flaw. This isn't something wrong. This isn't an illness. It's a sign that the pressure cooker was too intense and that something needed to be released to free that pressure to return to a more normal, regulated pressure. But perhaps there are other lessons that could be learned. I want you to recognize that every experience, including perhaps an intense relationship with what could be a narcissist, offers valuable lessons that contribute to your growth and wisdom. That understanding that encountering a narcissist is an opportunity for you to refine and strengthen your personal boundaries, ensuring that you protect your emotional well-being. Perhaps you could see the breakdown of the relationship as a pivotal moment for self-discovery. You weren't rejected or abandoned. You dodged a bullet. This moment of self-discovery means you can learn to prioritize your own needs and happiness above all else. You can embrace the idea that any stress or anxiety you felt during the relationship and its aftermath is a natural response to challenging circumstances. And it's okay to acknowledge and process these emotions. You already know that the intensity of this short-term relationship doesn't define your worth or ability to form healthy connections with others. This is a boot camp. And if this learning from this intense experience protects you from damaging longer relationships, then it's a blessing. Allow yourself to fully release any lingering negative emotions tied to that relationship, knowing that this release paves the way for healing and personal growth. You are wiser now than you were before. You can recognize signs that perhaps you couldn't have seen before, and you can use this knowledge to identify and maintain healthy relationships going forward. I want you to embrace the power of forgiveness. Not for them, but for you, for your own liberation from the emotional burdens that may have resulted from the relationship. Any embarrassment, any feelings that you did something wrong, forgive yourself. Not for anything you did wrong, but for the evaluations you were making about those things. Your head was not in its normal place. And you can understand that the breakdown of the relationship was not a failure on your part, but rather an opportunity to assert your own strength and resilience. Feel how good it feels as you look through the drawings in this book of your life, that you can celebrate the lessons you've gained from this experience as they contribute to your personal evolution and understanding of your own needs. Visualize yourself surrounded by an aura of self-assuredness and clarity, where your boundaries are strong and unwavering, safeguarding your emotional well-being. Congratulate yourself on already introducing boundaries to keep you safe. And any feelings that you have connected to that relationship will fade, leaving you with a deeper sense of self-awareness and a stronger foundation for future connections. Sometimes it's helpful to embrace the concept of closure, not through the approval or acknowledgement of the narcissist, but through your own acknowledgement that you've gained insights and growth from the experience. Affirm your inner strength, acknowledging that you have the ability to overcome challenges and to turn them into opportunities for empowerment. As you understand that your worth and value come from within, and no external relationship can determine your sense of self-worth. When your needs are being met through yourself, you can want them in someone else, but not need them in someone else. Visualize a shield of self-respect and self-love that deflects any negativity or manipulation, ensuring that you remain true to your values and boundaries. And use this experience to decide in advance what are your irrefutable, immutable red lines. You can write them down now while it's clear and evident. And every now and then, re-look at what you desire and what is unacceptable. Allow this to be your North Star, the compass to guide you when you're not sure where you are. Really embrace the knowledge that you deserve healthy, loving relationships that uplift and support you, and that you have the power to attract such connections. And whatever part of your unconscious was desired and desiring of that narcissist, allow that part to be updated so that you can learn from this feedback. So those characteristics are no longer appealing, and you find someone that really truly meets your needs. Feel a sense of liberation and release as you let go of any lingering emotional ties and allow yourself to step into a brighter, empowered future. As you stare into this book, I want you to imagine what the next chapter might be like. See drawings of a happy, smiling face, a version of you with strong boundaries, confident, empowered, wiser, still willing to trust, but knowing what to look for better than you ever have before. As your unconscious mind accepts that life is a learning experience. There are no mistakes if you learn from them. They are valuable learning experiences, precious gems in the story of your life. And if your unconscious mind is willing to extract the value from these experiences to make you wiser, more resilient, stronger, and more connected than ever before, let me know by nodding your head. And then just imagine that the pages in the future will be brighter and happier in the future. That your life still has wonderful adventures and opportunities, connections, experiences. And you don't need to see those pages to just know that they are there. And that everything that has come before will guide you to a more fulfilling and happier future. You take a deep breath in. Just allow yourself to return to the present. As you wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, really connecting to the feeling of being present and in this moment. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling empowered, feeling that you've released any pressure of the past, full of self-forgiveness, and feeling wiser than you've ever been. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.